Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. We're going to get into this Streamline messages. I hope you're all well and having a beautiful Friday afternoon. And the weekend is upon us. Buckshot George says, disgusting from start to finish. I'd be very intrigued how the us viewers are those like Wax Mama D, Streamliners, Entertainment, myself, Duncan, who fought for justice, have had no positive mention from the family. I believe we were mocked in these documentaries saying we are conspiracy theories, etc. We all know the ruddy truth, murder and a cover-up, an absolute disgrace. Just for ching ching, as Duncan puts it puts it for both parties. Yeah, I agree. We were played. This is why I I did say to myself I want to stop talking about it, but and secondly, one of the reasons why I didn't, because like I said, I still think there's a lot more to come out, and I don't think we should stop talking about it. And like I said, I'd love to see Wax come back and talk about it as well, because like I said, I think there is a lot of unfinished business, and I do think something else will come out of this case that is positive for us and getting justice for Jay Slater. Squiggle says, absolutely brilliant video, Marvin. I'm intrigued with the story and I'm going to watch the documentary tonight. As you spark my curiosity. Thank you, Squiggles. James Renner is absolutely brilliant. Please watch this video on the inside of the ship, the Rhapsody of the seas, which is absolutely brilliant. What he's come out with on the ship. There's so many. How can I put it? Different thoughts, different theories on this case, much like the Jay Slater case. It's hard to know really what happened to her. Nick says, I used to feel sorry for Debbie, but now I'm disgusted with her. She's just wanted to profit from his death. Yeah, of Jay. It's true. Nick, it's true. I've never really sort of come out and said that, but it's there staring us in the face now. Sadly, good point. Dunks, how you doing? K9 Dunks says, totally agree, Marvin. I have the feeling Mr. Long would have skimmed through our questions and observations, but Adelaide had no time for such insights. No. And I do think, like I said, he may know the family. They may have done a lot of talking or may know some of the people involved. I'm not accusing anyone, but like I said, it is absolutely weird. And that's a really good point, Duncan. I think there's more to this case and meets the eye. And this is why we still need to go on and discuss it and appreciate all the work you do, basically to put things out there about people in this case that hasn't been mentioned or just sitting on the preliminary side of things. Thank you. PGM. Now that the inquest is over and it's looking like Jay will never get justice, I don't really see why they're going ahead with the documentary. It's not going to tell us anything we don't already know or achieve anything. I think it's money, PJM. This is what I think it's about. I do think it's just money. Justine says, Jay's family are a disgrace. They are seriously failed Jay and haven't fought hard enough for answers from the start. The videos clearly show his friends avoiding Jay in the nightclubs. The public have fought more for justice for Jay. Yeah, we've put the battle up and she's allowed us to do that. But I do think they got their hands tied a little bit due to threats. And obviously the documentary's coming out, so they've got to be careful what they say, especially if they've signed waivers not to talk about it before these documentaries come out. I think that's got a hell of a lot to do with it. And obviously, ching ching. Thank you, Justine. Mike Jake says, NRG told so the DJs do not put up the videos of the sets and the crowd. Black Traffic and the hate models put their videos up and quickly took them videos down. Yeah, I remember that. NRG scrapped all the footage from inside the club to protect their license. A new fresh look. They had head safety should have been involved. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Big time. And like I says, that they weren't willing to basically sort of really sort of help the family and basically the police investigation. But we know that the police went in there and took video evidence and it's probably destroyed now, so we couldn't find it. Pony Girl, the last thing I'd want to do is make a sodding documentary if it was my kid. I'd be so brokenhearted about losing them, and I wouldn't want to live anymore. TBH. I do have a daughter who is 1 year older than what Jay would have been. She was happy to take the public's money, but the public aren't allowed to ask questions. But that's just my opinion. That is well said, Pony Girl. I agree. That's a very, very good point. And why wasn't Ali allowed in the coroner's court to see what was going on? That was bizarre as well, because obviously the taxpayers pay for that. Cool. Tenerife Final Boss, maybe it's so that they can get their own story across, considering their son has been talked about online by morons for over a year, constantly hourly videos full of lies and misinformation. Might be that perhaps if your child passed away in an accident and it was hijacked by greed content creators that gossiped, you might feel compelled to make one. Just a thought. Well, no, I disagree with the Tenerife Final Boss at the end of the day, because there's so many unanswered questions. I suggest you go back through the case at the end of the day and pick up points that we were all worried about in Jay's, his friends, basically third party involvement. Ayub, Rocky, what the hell was he doing with them? That tells you that there's something going, that there's something else going on in this case. And we'll continue to talk about it as much as we want at the end of the day, because like I said, there are people who holding information on their phones and may release it, which will tell us a different story into what happened to Jay Slater. Holy Girl goes on to say, I still wouldn't. Maybe if those surrounding the case hadn't acted strangely and kept changing their stories every 5 minutes, thank you, then no one would have been suspicious. But when you've got people being interviewed with their backs to the camera and others like Brandon not turning up to give evidence, for their best friend who doesn't look right. Even his own mum was pleading at the beginning to just let him go if anyone had him. Yeah, there you go. And obviously she would have heard something. Brilliant, Pony Girl. Like I said, people are welcome to come forward with their points of view, but we're not going to stop talking about it, like I said, because there's still so much to go through. As long as we're not abusing people, we can say what we want. They all knew I wasn't going to be investigated further. Debbie knew Jay was out there to deal rugs. 100%. They all know Jay was unalived on purpose. Yeah, 100%. It was business. It was business. I don't think Debbie realised how big this game was, and I don't think she expected him to be unalived out there. But I think a lot of his friends knew what he was coming out to, and I think Jay was a bit raw in that game, especially on the heavy side of things. I'm not saying he was blind to it. No, he wasn't at the end of the day. But this is the next step up. The people who were actually who he was dealing with. Sandra says the ratchet girl. How would she like it if it was the other way around and Jay was alive and her coward son was an alive traitor? IMHO. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. She never, ever, ever told us the truth. Thank you, Sandra. Mona, how you doing? Brad clearly didn't mind stopping to talk. Sad to see one mother walk away with her son in the graveyard, if it is her son in the box, and the other mother pushing her own bright and cheerful son into the van, making sure the lad did not say a word. From the beginning to the end, something is wrong. This is not how people behave after a tragic accident of a school friend. From the lockdown of the court to security behaviour to the witnesses, nothing is within the bound of normality. Yeah, it's really strange, Mona, and this is why basically I think there's so much suspicion in this case. Thank you very much for your support, and I'll continue to talk about the Jay Slater case as there's so much to go through. Dunks replies to Mona saying, well said, Mona, we can add this to the list of moments that don't add up at all. That's a really good point, Duncan. Thank you. Lee Patterson, they uploaded like everyone else, then privatized. So the dates all coincided for the future upload. Nothing was put out on any platform from NRG Business, etc. All platforms was scrutinized. Even emails and messages sent were ignored or laughed at. Thank you, Lee. That's a really, really good point. It's like they've just mugged us off, isn't it? Rushes away without answers, but they're all standing watching now. Set up the documentary and set to put the public at shame due to all the creators being on best behavior. Yeah, it's a way of trying to shut people from talking about the case. Sharon Carr, totally sick. Sorry about that. I think some of these videos are quite low. Wanted to watch but cannot hear you. So sorry about that. I will turn it up. Cascadia. Christy Smith, I think it was Jay Marvin. Yeah, I really do think that actually collapsed at the NRG festival. Tracy Gear, how dare they were fighting for justice to kind for the missing daughter for 30 years. The case has been proven that they failed in investigation on the cruise that early morning. What if it was your daughter? With all the publicity she's getting now, could possibly bring danger to her now. Yeah, I agree, Tracy. Yeah, but like I said, I think they was, but like I said, but people are gonna say other things. It's as simple as that. Whether you like it or not, there's gonna be diversions in this case, and there always will be. And I'll put those diversions out there in what people are saying. It's just the facts of the case. Drex is of the family sued because Amy was declared legally dead, and the cruise ships not only bodged crucial moments after the disappearance, but hindered the investigations. I agree. That was in the missing Amy Bradley case. Mag says the fact no CCTV and how the DJs all pulled their resumes that they even played at Energy is so odd. Yeah, it is bizarre because they know something happened that didn't want recording or getting out there, or were told not to. Was the ship docked or was it out at sea? Well, apparently it was just coming into dock, but that water they were coming into, actually coming into to dock, it was before it docked. Apparently it wasn't that deep, and if she'd gone overboard, she would have washed up technically on the beach. Slow laugh flex. People don't understand that being in courtroom is apparently the law doesn't always work out in favour of the people. Keeping something out on not being specific about something is different than lying. They don't know what happened to their daughter, and they want answers. The ship is responsible since that's where she was. If there was a proper and professional search done by the ship and she weren't found, then they could say she must have fell into the water. They failed to do so. They let people off the ship. Yeah, they did. And before doing so, they turned what could have been a simple search into a lifetime and worldwide search now. The ship is dirty business. I agree with you. I agree with you. But like I said, whatever we say, the court will say that the family did try to lie about one or two things, and that's out there already. So we've got to look at that. We've got to look at the facts. Those facts are out there. Yes, I want the family to look at to find Amy, hopefully alive. But like I said, we've got to put the facts out there. What people are saying. There's good points and there's bad points. There's always going to be that in a case. Pinky Pup. Whenever these videos are shared about, it makes me wonder who decided which faces to blur and which to leave. Yeah, it's odd. Really, really odd. I do think sometimes Ayat was probably behind a lot of that. Thank you, Pinky Pup. Mary Smith said it looks like he's handing it over to man in black t-shirt which says staff on it. His t-shirt. Interesting stuff. Officially, Kerry George says my AI said the same. Told me 12 entered the boat, and the close of closing cars had been changed by AI. Just a basic run through questions. We will never know. This is simply me flicking through comments. I apologise if anyone's offended. Interesting stuff. Thank you, Kerry. Good information there. I think a lot of things were manipulated to make us think, to try and make us think something else, that it was an accident. Does he hand the bag to a bouncer? H has a black polo shirt with something written on the back. Compare it to the bouncers. Interesting stuff. Thank you very much. LTFC 77. Amanda Carr goes on to say, remember the documentary Missing or Murdered that was made? They had very rarely made, yet the family allowed them to make one. Why? he had just wandered off into the mountains. And remember, it was meant to be shown that Jay was completely found, and show was cancelled. I think he was already to watch it on Wednesday night. Yeah, yeah, and it got cancelled because he was fined. It just sounded like to me they were ready to cash in on that or nothing. Miranne says there's nothing bizarre. Someone took the girl and it wasn't the family. Yeah, I agree. But like I said, the once again, the discussion is sometimes what happened in court and those articles out there in the early days. There's good points. I want the family. I'm 100% behind them, but we've got to look at all the facts in this case, and some of it is not going to be good. I support the family, but like I said, I'm going to put out there what I think that the public should know and my streamliners should know. Daniela says, absolutely, I really do care. Keep talking about him as long as you and Duncan, you will keep it fresh. Yeah, Daniela, I agree with you at the end of that. I'm not going to go back over the videos that I've made because obviously the family of, technically don't want justice for Jay now. And that they seem to be happy with what the coroner's report is an accident. But I am going over things in the Jay Slater case concerning the events he was at, Airbnb, and many other places. And like I said, we will keep it fresh. Thank you. CrazyCat says, I find it very strange that the coroner that was retired came out of retirement to close this case down. He left before the shit hit the fan. He was working alongside Spanish coroners as well, having to make sure things matched up. Yeah, 100%. That's a really good point. What about the song that had been made and put out before he was even missing? And this is why I said this was all a bit of a film and a narrative from the start to keep us thinking. And this is why a lot of people think it was just a psyop. CrazyCat, what investigator or police officer? I think they were on about MWT, I think, or someone along those lines. AGM, now the inquest is over and it's looking like Jay will never get justice. I don't see why they're going ahead with the documentary. It's not going to tell us anything we don't already know or achieve anything. Yeah, I agree, KGM. I agree with you so much there. It's just silly. And I think it's just to downgrade us and make us look stupid. It's all cloak of deception with everyone involved. AMO. Things have a way of servicing. I hope and pray it all comes out. Yeah, I'd agree. It will. Joy, thank you. It will do. I'm sure it will. Oh, sorry, Talia Thomas. I can barely hear you. I've turned my mic up. Sorry about that. Ian says, totally consumed me since he went missing. Phil, if something is missing now, there's no hope for Jay. Yeah, Ian, we never know what might come out. We've got to keep positive and keep going, my friend. I've been told about a guy called Jake who may have owed money. He is Chris Pennington's nephew. Strange. I've only just heard it. Wow. Let me know, Ian. Do we know anything about more like this, more of this Jake, and whether he knows Jay Slater? Madeline posts, very strange also that the Dutch dog search team arrived on Saturday the 14th, and suddenly on Monday, July the 15th, the body was found by the mountain rescue team from the Spanish Naval Guard, not by the Dutch dogs. Yeah, it's unbelievable because they probably knew, Madeline, that basically Jay's body will be found by this Dutch team because they're used to that condition that Jay was found in. Michelle Marshall, absolutely. I thought this is too at the time. They knew the Dutch team would definitely find Jay within days of arrival. I agree. Yeah, and it makes me feel sick because, like I said, there's so much information that had been covered up and blocked off for a reason, which is kind of sad at the end of the day. But like I said, I think we just need to fight. I mean, keep talking about this case, and I don't think it's going to go to bed yet. Thank you, Shia. John, thank you very much. Pinky Pup, CrazyCat, Betty Boob, Madeleine Post, brilliant messages as usual. Ian, keep the messages coming, my friend, and any information, I'll put it out there. Joy Wing, thank you. PJM, CrazyCat, lovely to hear from you. Jules, Sunflower, brilliant. Thank you for your messages. CrazyCat again. Daniela, Kelly, you're right, and we'll keep things fresh. Don't you worry about that. Miranne, thank you. Amanda, Carr, LTFC 77, good to hear from you. Official Kerry George, great messages. Mary Smith, love to hear from Pinky Pup, who's been with me a long time. Appreciate you. Thank you. Slow R Flex, nice to hear from you. 4Raven 242, thank you. Magsy, Max T, Reckless Bivy, Tracy, Christine Smith, Escadia, Sharon, thank you. Lee Patterson, that's really good messages. Duncan, do go up and listen to him. Still talking about the Jay Slater case. Got a brilliant channel there. Myrna, love to hear from you. Sandra, Mike Jakes, Holy Girl, Tenerife Final Boss. Yeah, you have your say in what you feel and what you think at the end of the day. But like I said, I've been in this case a long time, and there's definitely something suspicious that I'm not happy about, and I'll continue talking about it. Holy Girl, Mike Jakes, Justine, love to hear from you. PJM, Dunks again, thank you. Nick and Squiggles, brilliant messages. Yeah, do go look into that case, Squiggles. It's absolutely it's mind blowing, this case, and it's still got me gripped, to be honest with you. And this is why I keep basically putting out videos on the missing Amy Bradley case. Buckshot George, great message. Talk to you all soon. Thank you very much indeed. Take care and have a lovely weekend, people.